In today's lesson, we will be writing equations in the form y equals mx plus b, and we'll be writing these equations when we are given graphs. So before we graphed equations, now we're writing equations from graphs. So just a reminder, when we are writing our equations, m, the variable that matches up with our other variable x, m is your slope, and we find our slope by doing rise over run on our graph. And then to find b, the y-intercept, it's the point that crosses the y-axis. So here I have a graph. Let's first find the slope, the rise over run, or the change in y over the change in x. And as you can see, this is going up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So 1 over 1 is 1. So I know that m equals 1. And then now let's find the y-intercept. Where does it cross the y-axis? It crosses at 1. So if we rewrite our equation, we're just plugging in 1 for m and 1 for b. So my equation is y equals 1x plus 1. And you don't actually need to write the 1 in front of x. We could just write it as y equals x plus 1. So there is my linear equation from the graph at the left. Here is our second graph. Same thing, let's first find the slope using the rise over run. So from this point we're rising 1, and then we're running, we're going over 1, 2, 3. So 1 over 3 is my slope. And we don't want to divide that to get a decimal, we're going to leave it as the fraction 1/3. And then the y-intercept, it crosses right at the origin, so that means the y-intercept is 0. So when you write your equation, y equals 1/3 x plus 0, but you don't actually have to write the plus 0. You can just leave it as y equals 1/3 x as your equation. In this graph, points are not given to you, so you'll have to find your own points. I'm going to just outline the x and the y-intercept because they're just a little bit difficult to see in this graph. But first, let's find the slope. Change in our y values divided by change in x. Remember you want to find 2 points where it is clear of where it crosses at corners. And it looks here, I have these 2 points. So rise over run, if you notice from left to right, this is going downhill, so it's going to be negative. I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's negative 5 over 1, 2, 3, 4. So negative 5/4. That is an improper fraction. We can keep it just like that. And now let's find the y-intercept. Where does it cross the y-axis? Right here at 2. So my equation is y equals slope negative 5/4 x, and then the y-intercept plus 2. Alright, here is our last example. Let's find 2 good points. And you can even find there's a bunch of good points on this graph. And if you notice, all of them are going up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. So the rise over run, or the change in y divided by change in x, is up 2 over 1, and 2 divided by 1 is 2. And then the y-intercept, it crosses the y-axis at negative 4. So when we write the equation, y equals 2x plus negative 4, And you can actually, when you have this plus negative, rewrite it as just y equals 2x minus 4. So there is your equation. Pretty easy lesson. Just looking at your graph, find your slope, find your y-intercept, and then plug them in for m and for b. Good luck with the lesson.